Number 11. Pit Bull and Siberian Husky. Avon T. Andre Point, an Arizona resident, was shocked to discover his 12-year-old son failed to properly close his home's gate, allowing his two pets to escape. Andre Point owned a pit bull and a Siberian Husky. The moment they'd managed to rush past the open gate, the two dogs began causing mayhem in the town of Gilbert. Witnesses claimed the pair charged people who they'd run into, attacking several onlookers, including a 70-year-old man. One of the victims, a local teenager, said she tried to approach the dogs to check on their collars, believing they were lost. She was viciously bitten on her leg as she moved closer. The other two victims hadn't attempted to get close to the runaway dogs and claimed the attacks were completely unprovoked. They were taken to the ER, but their injuries were fortunately not severe. The Husky and Pit Bull were taken to the local pound, and though Andre Point attempted to find out what happened to his pets, he has yet to hear from the authorities up to the recording of this video. Number 10. Staffordshire Terrier. In September 2020, a pair of Staffordshire Terriers were discovered running away from a lethally injured dog in Edmonton. Emergency services were called and two paramedics tried to save the pet while animal control officers searched for the aggressive terriers. The violent dogs were seized and impounded from their home. A neighbor had been walking her dog when the two pets escaped a nearby backyard and lunged towards her. The woman and two passers-by were bitten by the violent dogs, though their injuries were not life-threatening. It's not yet been determined if the two attackers will be returned to their owner or what kind of fine will be set after the violent incident. Number 9. Bethany Lynn Stevens. When Bethany Lynn Stevens was found dead in the woods close to her home in Virginia in December of 2017, with gruesome wounds across her body after having been missing for some time, it was initially believed that she had been murdered. In the following days, rumors of her murder started spreading like wildfire in the small town of Goochland, and residents were worried about a killer on the loose. Those rumors did not immediately go away, even when the medical report came out that stated that Stevens had been mauled by her own dogs. Her friends and family simply could not believe it because of the incredibly close bond she was known to have with her two pit bulls that she was said to treat like her own children. It wasn't until further investigation was done and it was discovered that her pit bulls had been recently neglected when Stevens reconnected with her dogs that night. Because Stevens had been going through some personal issues, the dogs had been staying at her dad's. They had gone from sleeping in her bed at night for years to sleeping in a kennel outside in the cold, some days without even being fed. That is what experts believe caused the dogs to turn on Stevens when she picked up the dogs for a walk on that fateful December night. Number 8. Attack on a police officer. A Rottweiler viciously attacked a policeman after he attempted to arrest its owner. Authorities were called to the man's residence after receiving a report of domestic violence. The incident occurred in a southwest neighborhood of Sydney. When the police officers arrived, the homeowner had barricaded himself in his garage alongside his barking dog. The unnamed man began to yell at the officers and commanded his dog to attack. The police decided to arrest the 52-year-old man involved in the incident. That was when a massive Rottweiler lunged at the cops, viciously biting the sergeant directly on the face. The injuries were so severe that they required immediate surgery. The dog's owner was charged with common assault and 2 counts of urging a dog to attack. His lawyers requested bail, but it was denied due to the man's aggressive and reckless behavior. Number 7. ELISA PILARSKI. In November of 2019, Parisian woman ELISA PILARSKI was savagely torn apart by her partner's American Staffordshire Terrier. At 29 years old and 6 months pregnant at the time, Pilarski was taking the dog out for a walk one cold winter day in the Retz forest, about an hour outside of Paris. The terrier, named Curtis, belonged to her partner, Christophe Eloul, and it was her first time being alone with Curtis. Tragically, the timing of this happened to coincide with a deer hunt taking place in that same forest, during which a large pack of hunting dogs was being put to use. Elisa then called Christophe, telling him that she had come across some menacing dogs and that she was having a hard time keeping Curtis on his leash. Unfortunately, by the time Christophe arrived at the scene 45 minutes later, Elisa's dead body was found in a ravine which he had initially believed to be just a log, when in reality, it was her stomach. All her clothes were torn off, and there were bites all over her limbs and head. Christoph was quick to blame the hunt impact dogs as the cause of his partner's death, which the hunters vehemently denied. In a surprising turn of events, DNA results conducted on 62 hounds, all belonging to the hunting club, came back about a year later, confirming their innocence. To add to the matter, Curtis the terrier's DNA was found on Pilarski's wounds, as well as her own DNA on Curtis's leash. While Curtis was locked up in a dog pound, after Elisa's death, he went on to bite another person. Number 6. Pit bulls. 4 pit bulls managed to escape their owner's home and ran wild across the Missouri town of Florissant. Several neighbors called the police department, reporting that the pack of dogs was attacking residents. The first woman to be attacked was walking alone, and the pit bulls lunged at her. She sustained a number of serious bites all over her body. Several neighbors rushed to her aid. A local woman subsequently told the authorities she was certain that if no one had arrived to scare the pit bulls away, the victim would have been killed. Witnesses claimed the dogs were going berserk and had even torn their victim's shoes off. Though neighbors tried to stop the pack of dogs, they kept running down the street, attacking an elderly woman and 2 other people. They bit one of the town's residents so deep that they managed to penetrate the bone of her leg. As they rushed up and down the streets, one of the dogs was killed by a passing car. The 3 remaining pit bulls ended up attacking 2 other people before being stopped. One of the elderly residents was hospitalized in severe condition due to his injuries. Number 5. Alberta dog attack. An Alberta utility worker was traumatized by a vicious dog attack that landed her in the hospital. In December of 2020, Tina Dodwell was changing utility meters in her assigned area. She decided to enter a backyard. After knocking for several minutes and receiving no response, Dodwell needed to complete a scheduled visit to make sure the meter was working correctly. Even though she usually reminded her customers that it was part of her job to enter their backyards, some still became aggressive. Such was the situation during this last visit. When Dodwell entered through the back gate, she was shocked to see a woman opening the house's door, allowing a pit bull and another dog to charge her. 2 neighbors heard her screams and rushed to her aid. Though the attack only lasted a minute or 2, she told authorities it felt like hours as the dog bit her arms, legs, and even her torso. Dodwell was rushed to the hospital and required dozens of stitches to mend her lacerations and puncture wounds. She's been terrified of dogs ever since and has been attempting to heal mentally through exposure therapy. The dog's owner was charged $1,500, and authorities are still considering whether to press criminal charges. Number 4. Repeat offenders. 2 vicious pit bulls attacked and killed a neighbor's pet only 9 months after their first reported attack. The Chicago pets had escaped from their owner's house several times in the past, and police were called to the area once more. Though one of the pit bulls was captured and returned to their home, the other one managed to jump into a neighbor's fenced backyard. It savaged another pet, an 8-year-old dachshund named Suki, killing it instantly. Suki's owner rushed to rescue his pet, but it was too late to do anything to aid it. The 2 pit bulls were considered highly aggressive, and their owners had been ordered by a judge to keep them muzzled and in a secure enclosure. After the second attack, the pit bull's owner decided to have his pets euthanized. The male was put down while the female was placed in a shelter while awaiting a judge's decision. Number 3. Pit bull attack. Illinois police were called to a Galesburg neighborhood where horrified residents witnessed a local pit bull attacking a leashed dog. A man and a woman were walking their dogs when a pit bull suddenly emerged out of its backyard and attacked without any warning. Fortunately, neither one of them was bitten, but couldn't get the violent pit bull mix off their pets. While Sadie, the small Pomeranian, was killed instantaneously, their dachshund, named Bandit, was wounded and managed to survive the attack. When officers arrived, the pit bull's owner had already managed to force her pet into the backyard. She claimed the dog's true owner was her son and that she was just pet sitting. Her backyard wasn't prepared to host a violent beast. Animal control took the pit bull, named Azula, away. Its owner might face criminal charges along with several penalty fees. Today's topic was inspired by Johnny St. Louis. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe. and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Long Island Pit Bulls. 3 pit bulls went on a rampage in July of 2020 and attacked 4 different people after escaping their backyard. Several onlookers called the police, who arrived soon after. Though an officer shot at the pack, none of the pets were injured in the process. All 4 victims required stitches and medical treatment, but fortunately, none of their injuries were lethal. The 3 pit bulls had a history of escaping and had even attacked a police officer as well as an independent contractor who responded to animal complaints. Fortunately, the dog's owner managed to lock them back in the yard, putting an end to the rampage. He was notified about the incidents and an investigation was launched. Number 1. Elderly woman killed by bull mastiffs. A 91-year-old Australian resident was savagely attacked by 3 bull mastiff cross mixes while visiting a local beach. She was taking a morning swim at Collingwood Beach when the dogs rushed towards her, having previously escaped from their backyard after breaking the fence. The dog's owner, Adam Newbold, was shocked to discover the news and claimed his pets were always gentle to his daughters, as well as the family's cat and lizard. When the dogs escaped the house, Newbold's partner attempted to get them back in the backyard, but they were faster. The mastiffs managed to wound 4 other people before reaching the unnamed elderly woman. The dogs were put down after the incidents, and an investigation on the attacks was launched. Thanks for watching. Would you rather get attacked by a pack of 20 vicious chihuahuas or spend 20 minutes in a bathtub filled with cockroaches? Let us know in the comments section below.